What's up, everybody? We're back again for another live stream, and we are discussing again how to get paid what you are worth. That's what we're going to be discussing today. For those of you who want to send me a copy of your resume for review, I will pin my email address in the chat on Instagram. So feel free to do that. Many of you have sent me your resume, and you have corrected your resume, and they look absolutely amazing. So you should start to get results from those corrections. You'll start to see recruiters reaching out to you, and so on and so forth. So today we're going over again the guide, how to get paid what you're worth. And I am going to be talking to you guys about how talent acquisition, human resources, and hiring managers determine pay ranges, and how to know when you walk into a job interview, you know exactly what to ask for and how to get it. Okay. Good morning, Coitus Life. So first things first, if you're on this live, whether you're on Instagram, Facebook, or YouTube, in the chat, where are you watching from? We usually get several countries that are watching. So I want to know where you're watching from. Good morning, Natasha. Good morning. Where are you watching from? We have pinned the email in the chat on YouTube as well. So Georgia, Oregon, Alabama, where are you watching from? Where are you watching? Tennessee, I see you. Welcome. You're watching on Instagram, but what state, like what city, state, country, where are you watching from? Nigeria, that's awesome. Thank you so much. From Nigeria. So we have the US and we have Nigeria that's watching. Again, we're going to be talking about how to get paid what you're worth. There's a guide in my store that you can grab, that I'm sharing from. And I'm telling you how we determine, as talent acquisition pros, how we determine how we choose pay range. Now, Daniel, why are you doing this? The number one reason why I'm doing this is because I know what happens behind the scenes. And I'm telling you, no one behind the scenes is advocating for you. You have to advocate for yourself. If you are looking for a job, if you're currently working on a job and you're trying to get a pay raise, or you're trying to get a promotion, or you want to leave your current job and go to another company, or if you're interviewing with companies, or you have an interview coming up and you want to change jobs, you need to know what's going on. Okay. And so the reason why I have this platform is because for the past 35 years, I have been in talent acquisition and human resources, hiring tens of thousands of people, interviewing 500,000 people in my career. Interviewing almost 100,000 people in my career. And I have looked at more than 500,000 resumes in my career. I know what a good resume looks like. I know what a good candidate looks like. I know what hiring managers want. I know the questions they ask. And I'm talking about hiring managers from C-level executives, as CEOs, all the way down to directors, VPs, line managers. I know exactly what they want. I am the one that builds out the applicant tracking system, that when you fill out an application, your information goes into a program that I'm the one that created. I'm the one that positions our job postings to attract you. I am the one that puts in the automated reply message. I am the one that establishes the standard by which we are going to select candidates in our organization, right? I'm the one that does that. And a hiring manager does not see you until you see me. And so, why am I doing this? Because no one is going to advocate for you. No one. You are on your own, and you need to know that. So, if I can give you the tools and the information that you need to advocate for yourself, you can win in the interview game. You can win and get the job you want. You can get the pay you want. You can get paid what you want. You can never be lowballed ever again in your life. You will not have to worry about gaps in employment. You will not have to worry about your age when it comes to employers. You will not have to worry about you just graduated from college. I'm giving you all the information here on my platform because no one is going to advocate for you. Here's the funny thing. In corporate America, we need good employees. We need good workers. We need people to come to work. We need that, right? So if you don't know what the expectations are, the standards are, you don't know the questions that are going to be asked, you don't know any of those things, you're going off of whatever you're going off of, you don't stand a good chance of actually being hired. So that's why I'm doing this. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section and I will do everything that I can to answer your direct question here live. Okay. So Natasha says, I have an issue. I interviewed for a position I really wanted in HR. They never called me, so I didn't get selected. The HR manager called me today and wants to offer me the same job. Okay. So here's what probably happened, Natasha. They didn't call you back, one, because the recruiter who reached out to you or whoever in HR, they're lazy. They should have called you back and let you know that they selected somebody else. There's a great likelihood that they chose somebody else as their number one choice, but that person turned them down, okay? They denied it, or I'm sorry, they did not accept the position, or they accepted the position and didn't get started. Now, you as the second best choice, they're coming to you and they want to offer you the job. If this is a job you want, take it. Take it, okay? And if you need help with respect to decisions about taking it, reach out to me. I'll be happy to do that. The person said, okay, so I'm just now reading your second message. It says the person that they selected didn't work out. She or he did not last a week. Now they're coming to me, and the position is a temp position, not now, but was not before. Take it. Take the position. Okay, that's what I would suggest. Take the position and prove to them that their decision initially was wrong. Okay. They said the person didn't last because, now I want to address this real quick. So Natasha said the HR manager said the person didn't last because of integrity issues. This is a clear and prime example of how some hiring managers have no idea about how to pick good candidates, even in HR. Even in HR. Because I have interviewed close to 100,000 people in my career, and I've looked at 500,000 resumes, and they hired thousands of people, tens of thousands of people. I know what a good candidate looks like based on their character. And the answers you give tell me about your character. Even HR people really don't know that very well. So they're not in the talent acquisition space, and that is their sole responsibility. Most hiring managers have no idea about how to pick good candidates. And this is a clear example of the issue. So take that job. Okay, call them back, take that job. But now I want you to remember this. You are in a position of power, of control. So when they want to offer you the job, ask them pay plus 10%. So if they're offering you $50,000, say, okay, would you be willing to go to $55,000 for this job, right? Also ask, are there any other incentives? Is there some sort of sign-on bonus when I go permanent? Is there some sort of performance bonus annually? Ask those questions as well. And if you need more help, feel free to reach out to me. Now today, the HR manager said she feels confident in me and feels I can do the job. So here's the deal, Natasha, this is a straight honest truth. They like that other person better than you. This is not about a skill experience issue. They just liked that person other than you. And a lot of times hiring managers are making those decisions based on how they feel about somebody else from an interview. And now they realize this person has poor character. And I'm sure there were some red flags there, but they overlooked those red flags and selected that person anyway. But remember, now you are in a position of power. You have the control. So when you go back to them, say, yes, I would love to take the position, but before I do, I have a question to ask you. You know, I know this position is paying X, add 10% to it and say, would the company be willing to pay this? Okay? Ask that question so you can maximize your opportunity. Okay? Because if you don't, they're going to give you whatever it is they want. Foundation for Elevation says, is it bad to call and ask for a status application? No, it is not. This is what I advise all of my clients to do. And this is what I advise on social media and tell all of you guys to do. If you have done an interview with a company, okay, 3 days after the interview, you are going to, if you haven't heard anything, you are going to send them a follow-up email. Please tell me where we are in the process, because I'm interested in what are the next steps. If they have not responded to your email in 24 hours, you're going to call them. Okay? Just trying to get a status update, see what the next steps are. If you get a voicemail and they do not return your voice message in 24 hours from that, if you're local, go to the company. Okay? Get in your car and drive up to the company and ask for the recruiter or the hiring manager so you can get a status update. Physically go there, okay? If it is not a local company, you are going to call and email every day until somebody gives you a status, okay? That is showing them that you are interested and it is taking control of your career. Don't let people jerk you around and keep you on the back burner for nothing. Don't do that. Okay, foundation what are some things that prevent people from getting a call back from HR? This is what there's only one of two things that causes HR to not call you back for a job. Okay, thing number one, they didn't like you. They didn't like you as a person. Okay, they know you can do the job. They know you have the skill, but they don't like you. Now, how do I define like? Okay, if you can be in a room, like is determined by this. If you can be in a room with that person, in a room with no windows for 8 hours a day, okay, then that person is likable. If they did not feel like you are somebody they could be in a room with for 8 hours a day, they didn't like you, okay? And they're not going to hire you. It doesn't matter how much skill you have, how much ability you have. It doesn't matter how good you are. They're not going to hire you. That's number one. Number two, the number two reason why they may not hire you is the depth of your skill is not enough for what they need. So that's the technical aspect of your position, right? So from talent acquisition perspective, that may look like, so I've been recruiting for 35 years, but I have like 2 years of engineering recruiting experience. Now, if you're in recruiting, you know that all recruiting is the same pretty much, right? But some people think, well, if you haven't been doing engineering recruiting specifically for X amount of time, then the depth of your experience is not what we are looking for. And that's fine. So if that's how they're looking at it, that's cool. So it could be either be the depth of your experience or they just don't like you. Okay, you did not show them that you were likable. And that's sometimes how it is. Well, how do I know that? Because every time a candidate is rejected by a hiring manager, my team and I ask the hiring manager, why was this person not selected even though they had the skills? Now we do that so the next person we submit to them, or the next 3 people that we submit to them, these people need to have exactly what they're looking for. And I'm going to tell you in just a second how I combat this. So we ask them that question because we want to make sure that the next 3 people that we submit, they're exactly what they're looking for. And most hiring managers who reject candidates say, well, I just don't think that she will be a fit on the team. You don't think? Well, I just don't feel like she'll fit. I don't feel like she'll do well. I don't think she'll do well. That's because they don't like you. That's all. So you over talked in the interview, or you said something that triggered them, or they became intimidated by you. There's something about you they don't like, right? And they may not necessarily be able to put a finger on it, but your conversation was not one that caused them to be ingratiated to, like you, enjoy you, want to be around you. They just didn't like you. And that's just how it is sometimes. I have gotten rejected from interviews knowing I can turn an entire department around, but some people are just they're intimidated by my confidence, or my matter of factness, or my experience. I know more than most of the people in the organization with respect to talent acquisition. And so it's very hard to control an individual with that kind of experience. Not that they necessarily want to control, but sometimes they do. I know more about talent acquisition than most talent acquisition pros. Most of them, I know more. So most managers, CEOs, they can't tell me about I know this. This is the game I know for a fact. So that's one of the reasons why they may have rejected you. Okay. Let me take a look here again. All right. Make sure I'm answering your questions. So foundation, asking about if you submit an application and haven't landed an interview, is it bad to ask for a status? If you submitted an application and no one reached out to you, there's 1 or 2 reasons why. Either you applied to a position that is passive, you haven't gotten any kind of response back. It's a passive position, so it's not a live job opening, actual job opening. They're trying to build their database. Or your resume sucks. Your resume did not attract the attention of the hiring manager or the recruiter, and they're not going to spend time calling all of those candidates back. As I said before in previous videos, 2 out of every 100 candidates that a talent acquisition person sees is supremely qualified. That means they have all of the qualifications that a company is looking for, the experience, the background, education. Only 2 out of every 100. So instead of recruiters calling every candidate back, the 98 that don't qualify, they just don't say anything in hopes that you won't follow up with them. So if they don't follow up with you, it's either a passive position or your resume sucks. And that's why I offer to review your resume for free so you can fix it. Okay, so you don't have that issue. All right. Hope that answers your question. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to do everything I can to answer it. Cliffy said, I resigned today because the manager don't have respect and skills to be in such a position. And salary was way below what I expected from them, and no growth in the company. Going for an interview on the 26th. Okay, so let me make a suggestion here, Cliff. I appreciate you sending me this question. And I don't know what your status is, if you're single, you have a family, or those things, but this is what I recommend. When you are working for a company like that, people leave people, not companies, right? If you have a manager who is just absolutely out of their mind, there's a couple things that you want to do. So I think you want to try to do these things simultaneously. Number 1, if the manager is disrespectful, get human resources involved. The purpose of human resources is employee relations. They want to make sure that the employees within the organization are good. So if you don't have a good HR department, you kind of stuck, right? While you're reaching out to HR, do what you're doing. I think you already done it, and that is to start looking for another position. Because typically, if you get to HR and HR doesn't do anything to get that manager either trained or out of there, it's going to put a bad taste in your mouth with your manager, and they may try to do something to fire you. So start looking for another job. The hope is that the company cares enough about its employees to correct the manager. If they were disrespectful to you, they're probably disrespectful to somebody else, and HR has probably heard it before. In the meantime, again, go look for another job, find a place that respects you, honors you, and wants to celebrate your skill and experience. So to get the job done, that's the bottom line. We want to make sure that we're doing that. And go on to that interview on the 26th. Don't be upset. Don't take any anger or hatred into that interview. Don't talk negative about your previous employer. They're going to ask you why you left your job, and the answer you want to give them is my skills and my goals more aligned with the values of this company and not the company that I just left. Don't talk about your manager and how disrespectful they were. You can share that with me, but do not share that with your incoming hiring manager. Don't do that. Is the title HR consultant a low entry position? No, HR consultant is not a low entry level position. HR consultant could be a person who is consulting on HR compliance. It could be HR assistant. Don't get caught up in the title. Okay, don't do that. Natasha, two things. Where are you watching from, and what are they offering in terms of pay? Tell me. I want to know what that is, and then I'll help you understand if it makes sense. And what kind of company is it? A big company, medium company, small company? Tell me. Okay. So thank you for your question. I really appreciate it. TSELMAR says, so what if you are HR and treated that way? So what if you're the HR person and you're treated badly? Is that what you're asking me? I want to make sure that I'm answering your question correctly. Honeybee say, how can you complain if a company has no HR department? Okay, so then you're going to have to go up the chain, right? So it's hiring manager and or your direct manager. If your direct manager is the issue, you might want to take it to that manager's manager. And it's that manager's responsibility to resolve that matter. If that manager's manager doesn't resolve it and there is a manager above them, you want to take it to them as well. So if you're not getting any kind of results, if people are not treating you with respect and dignity, right, and they're not celebrating your ability to solve a problem within the organization, probably not a good company to work for long term, right? You don't want to let them know that you're not working long term, but it's not a company that you want to work for long term. You want to get out of there as quickly as you can and find somebody that will celebrate your skill, experience, education, and background, and your ability to solve a problem within an organization. I say this all the time, and you may have heard it before. People don't leave companies, they leave people. I am a manager. I know how to manage people. My job as a manager is very simple: to provide tools, training, and time for my staff to do their job. I work for them. They don't work for me. I have been given the responsibility by the organization to manage those individuals. So the way I see it is I have an extra 40 or 80 or 120 hours a week to get the job done, and I work for my staff to make sure that my staff is getting the job done on behalf of the company. If I'm able to do that, then I am fine. So Natasha said 33 an hour in Georgia, take that job. You're not going to find an HR assistant, HR consultant position in Georgia. By the way, the rates in Georgia are about the same as in Texas, for $33 an hour. So it's $66, $67, almost $68,000 a year for that HR consultant job. Take it. Okay, take it. I would ask them for 35, but I would take that job. And then get your foot in the door, work your butt off, make things happen, and then prove to them that you are a worthwhile team member in HR. Now, go in, probably what you're going to do is help them to kind of get HR admin stuff organized. Okay, so paperwork, files, all of those things, you're going to be responsible for getting all those things, making sure HR is compliant, blah, blah, blah. And they may have you help with onboarding, new hire orientations, things like that. That's what an HR consultant is all about. The other thing is you may be working with, hiring managers or line managers or employee complaints or employee relations, whatever. But that's a $67,000, $68,000 a year job. You need to take that. Okay. That's what my recommendation would be. I don't know what your background is. I don't know what your history is, but I would take that job if I were you. Okay. So it was the owner. So TSLE, I would move on. I mean, if the owner of the company is the top person, or there's no HR person, you're dealing with the owner, you're dealing with a small business. They're making things up as they go. There is no structure in the organization. Then you just gonna have to, grin and bear it, deal with it, or you need to move on to another company. Now, what I would recommend is if you can take it, get as much. I don't know how long you've been working with that company, but get as much experience as you can from working for that organization. Because when you work for a smaller organization, there are a lot of things you learn to do. And if you could stay with that company for 2 years, not saying that you should, but if you can stay with that company for 2 years to glean as much information and experience as you can, then go out and work for another company, then that's what I would recommend that you do as a career step. Okay. Employee relations is a big focus. Yeah, depending on the size of the organization, right? Employee relations is a big focus for the most part. It's really about making sure that employees are, one, compliant and in line, that they're being treated fairly, right, within the organization. So the focus is broad. I wouldn't say big. It's broad. It could be broad depending on the organization, how large the organization is. Okay. So I'm not working for them anymore. I did learn a new program. Well, congratulations. I'm glad you did that. Foundation for Elevation says, how likely is it for HR to give a person a higher compensation than what the job offers if they ask? There is like a 75% chance. If you ask for 10% more, there's a 75% chance that you will get more if you're a top candidate. In other words, if you're a candidate that's at the top end of the pay, well, you could be top medium or top, in the top middle or at the bottom. If you ask for 10% more, there is a 75% chance they're going to give you more money than the position lists. I'll give you a clear example. If the position pays $20 an hour, you're entry level, they're okay with paying, 10% will be 22. So they may say, well, we can't offer you 22 because that may take you too close to people who have 4 to 5 years experience in the organization. But we can't offer you $20.50 or $21. It's still more than what $2,000, $1 an hour more is still $2,000 more than what you would have gotten, right? If it is, $30 and we say, 10% is more, is 33, they may say, yeah, we can go to 33. 33 is $6,000 more than you would have gotten. So it's about a 60 to 75% chance that they're going to give you that if you're the candidate that who has all of the experience they're looking for. The problem is 99.9999% of candidates never ask. Never. Now, why am I telling you to do that? Because I know what they will do. In fact, when I submit a candidate to a hiring manager, this is how I do it. I ask the candidate, what's the least amount you're willing to accept to start a job? So let's say the top of that pay is $30 an hour, and this person has 10 years experience. And they'll say, well, the least I'm willing to accept is $30 an hour. And I'll say, okay, great. I'm going to tell the hiring manager you want 31. Is that okay? That's what I do. They want 31. Okay, and the hiring manager will say, "Oh yeah, I'm looking at this experience. They're a perfect match. I want to interview them," and they will interview you, knowing 31 is the number. And if everything is right, meaning you are the person that they select, then I go back and say, "Okay, she wanted 31, so submit an offer for 31." And they submit an offer for 31, and you get it. So I do this already. Alai from the Club News is watching from Saudi Arabia. Thank you so much from Saudi Arabia. So we have 4 countries on right now. In the chat, tell me where you're watching from. Okay, if you have an issue with your resume and you want to revamp your resume to make it look perfect for recruiters and hiring managers, email it to me. I'll review it and tell you, how good it is. If you need any resources, click the link in my profile. What I'm sharing from today is the guide on how to get paid what you're worth. Most of you Giuliano from California. Thank you for watching from California. Most of you do not know how to get paid what you're worth. Now, I share this and I want you to understand this. The largest expense that companies have, most companies have, is employee pay. That's the biggest expense in most organizations, employee pay. Okay? So it is the thing where the companies can make the maximum amount of profits. So if they give you a low number, it's because they're trying to maximize profits. Every employee in an organization should be able to produce or support someone who produces 10 times their salary. Okay, so if your salary is $50,000 a year, your work should contribute to the company being able to make an additional $500,000 a year just from your support or direct sales activities, customer service activity. That's how companies look at it. It should be 10x. Okay, so if you're making 50,000, you should be able to help the company generate an additional 500,000. You know, in my position, I should be able to help a company generate 7 figures a year, more, right? And that could be through cost savings, that could be through revenue generation, that could be through client retention. Bottom line is my job, and the way it works for me, my job is I need to reduce turnover. Turnover in an organization involves training and everything else when people quit. That is a very big expense. So I try to reduce turnover. In fact, the company that I'm working for was about 70% when I got started. Now we're down to 9%. 9% turnover in 2 years. Okay. So if I can reduce turnover to all the way down, that means they don't have to spend money on training every single year, and they don't have to spend money on ads to hire. They don't have to spend money on new employees. They don't have to do that. So that's cost savings. Then we don't have to spend money on job board advertisements and any of those things either. So that's saving the company money. When I first started with the organization, they had spent $135,000 in job board ads. And when I took over the very first year, I saved the company $75,000, about 75 grand. So we didn't spend that much. And then this past year, we spent about 35,000. So I've saved the company $100,000 a year over year from what they've been spending before. So that's how you 1x, 2x, 10x your skill to an organization. And that's what good companies are looking for that. They want to make sure that they are getting from you in profits or in sales or in production, they're getting from you what they're paying you. That's why you have all of the control. If you can demonstrate to them by your skill, experience, education, likability in an interview that you are the right fit, they are thinking this person is going to walk right in, start making things happen, make my job easier, and help us to grow and go to the next level. Okay? That's how it works. But you need to know this. No one will advocate for you. You are on your own. You have to advocate for yourself. If you want to get paid what you're worth, you have to advocate for yourself, because no one is going to look out for you. And that's the truth. Okay? So how do you do that? You have to equip yourself with the information. You have to follow my content so that you understand what the interview looks like, what to expect in the interview, how to negotiate pay on your own. How do we determine pay? How do we determine that? How did I come up with a number, $20 to $30 an hour? How did I come up with that number? I tell you all of that so you can know where to go get that information, so you can walk into an interview and you could be in control of your own career instead of being at the mercy of the company, waiting for them to call you back. They should be begging you to come work there because you're helping them to achieve their goals. So if you need help, all you got to do is click the link in my bio, click the link in my profile, and there are guides there that will tell you the fastest way to get a job, the best way to negotiate pay, how to get paid what you're worth. I put up today a cheat sheet, the top 50 most common interview questions that you will be asked and how to answer them. That's up there right now. You can click that right now, and for like $7, you can have every interview question and every interview answer that most every single person will ever ask you. It's a cheat sheet. Top 50 interview questions and how I will answer them. Behavior questions, career development questions, motivation questions. It's all up there. So I put this in my store. I make this available to you so you can be equipped. Dan, why do you do that? Because nobody look out for you. Listen to me, I'm telling you. They don't care about you like that. Now, once you get in the organization and you start producing, then they care. But if somebody above you and somebody above them happen to make a mistake within the organization financially, and they have to do reduction in force, you might be gone after that. So you may have worked for a company for 10 years, given your all to it, and you have developed your lifestyle around the pay for that job. You have bought a house, you got a car, you have taken your lifestyle up to the level of your pay. You've gotten a promotion and you've gotten all of these pay raises, and somebody makes a dumb, stupid financial mistake within the organization. It causes them to have to reduce the largest expense in the organization, which is employees. And you can get a letter that says, thank you very much for your service, but I'm sorry, we have to reduce staff and we're going to give you a 1-month severance. You got 30 days to try to get your life back on track. Happens every single day. That's why I do this. Because that is the reality of the world I live in and the world you live in that you don't know about. That's the reality. So I have these guides in my store so you can equip yourself. Go get it. And the other thing I asked for is, I want you guys to support this financially. Give $10 so that you can continue to be equipped, so I can continue to do this and be equipped and continue to equip you with the tools you need to get your career going. I want you to listen to me, maximize the amount of money you can make from a company so you can live the life you always wanted to live. I want you to be aware of the kinds of things that could happen behind the scenes so you can be prepared, so you're not caught off guard. Because I'm telling you, no HR person, no recruiting talent acquisition person is going to tell you these behind the scene truths. That's why I'm here. So companies, the largest expense in most organizations is staff salary. The goal of every company is to maximize their profits and minimize their expenses, which means they want me and you at the lowest pay rate they can get us at, and they want us to make the highest output possible. Okay? They want to get us at the lowest rate, but they want us to produce at the highest level. That's business. That's how it works. So again, I said, you need to make sure that you are looking out for you. And how do you do that? How do you equip yourself? You got to know the industry that you're interviewing within. You have to know the market that you're in. California doesn't pay what Texas pays. Texas doesn't pay what New York pays. New York doesn't pay what Florida pays. Know the market so you are not disqualifying yourself by overestimating what you can get paid. Had a guy on the live last night. They offered him less than what he asked for. And I asked him where you got that number from. Like, where did you get this number of $25 an hour from? Why didn't you know what to ask for when you walked into that? Well, because he hasn't been watching the lives. He hasn't been, consuming this content. I'm telling you guys the truth. You should never walk into an interview and not know what the pay range is from your own research. You need to know the job. What job? Well, a customer service job in a customer service call center is different from a customer service job in a face-to-face retail organization. You need to know the job, be good at it. Okay, that's important. Should I apply to a position I have no experience at? No, you shouldn't, unless you're willing to clean the toilets first, right? And get your foot in the door that way. All right. So Big Dog says you should never take an interview even without knowing the range and if you'll accept that. That's correct. So here's the deal, Big Dog. Even if the pay range is publicized by the organization, you should still do your own research and know what the range is in the market you're in. Why do I say that? How do we determine range? We do what we call a salary survey. That means we take the average low, medium, and high salary for companies that are right around in our same market, doing the exact same thing that we're doing. And there are 3 resources that I recommend that you go to. These are the resources that I go to, same ones. And it'll tell you low, medium, and high to within $1 or $2, depending on the company, in industry, and location. And when you walk into an interview, if their top pay is too low, you have data, information that you've already discovered that you can say, okay, well, my skill, my experience, and ability to solve this problem warrants this. I know that you're saying you're paying only this, but my skill, experience, education warrants this. Will you take the pay to this? And if they say no, you say thank you, but no thank you. But you should know every time you walk in. So the guide, what you should know before you go, I have those resources in there. You should know that. Don't ever walk into an interview without knowing that. Don't ever walk into an interview without clicking the About You on a company's website. You should know what that company's all about, how long they've been around, what they do, what their core values are. You should know that. Write it on a piece of paper. Print it out. Do whatever you have to do. You should know that. Okay? And know your skill level. This is how we determine skill level. It's 0 to 10 years. Okay? From entry level to senior level. 0 to 2 years is what we call entry level. Okay? 4 to 6 years is what we call mid level. 10 to 15 years, that's senior level. Okay? So if you've only been doing this job for 2 years, don't go in there asking for senior level pay. You're going to disqualify yourself. Know your skill level. Okay? But if you are a senior person, understand that if they're trying to offer you entry level pay for the position, that's disrespectful. Either they don't understand what they're doing, they're out of their mind, something's wrong with them. Okay, so make sure you're holding people accountable for paying you what it is you're worth. Okay, know your experience level. How long have you been doing this in the industry, and for who? Right? If you work for another hospital and you're interviewing for another hospital, or you work for a hospital and now you're interviewing for a clinic, I mean, those are 2 different things. Still in the medical field, you need to know how your experience impacts it. Know how your education impacts it. Education is a baseline foundation of knowledge. You need to know that, because that is how you're going to get them to pay you what you're worth. Trust me, they are not going to look out for you. So you have to look out for yourself. If you have a question, leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer it. And then I put down here, you got to know how to determine your own pay range. And I talked to you about how to do that in this guide, how to get paid what you're worth. Okay. And then this is something I'll continue to tell you guys. You have to know my 10% ask rule. You should never, ever, ever, for the rest of your life, for any job that you work for, ever, never, ever, not ask for 10% more than what the pay is listed. Never. If you're at the top end of the spectrum, it's that plus 10%. You're at the middle, that plus 10%. If you're entry level, that plus 10%. Most companies are willing to go to 10%. Some of them will only go 5% or 3%. But the bottom line is you need to make sure that you're asking. If you're working in an organization currently and you've been there for a year, 2 years, or 5 years, or 10 years, and you've been getting these pay increases, there's a good chance that you are being paid below market. Okay? How would you know? If you did a salary survey the way that I share in this guide, you'll be able to see what the low, medium, and high is in this particular your area for your current job. And then you can say, well, I've been with the company for 10 years and I'm making what a medium level person would make if they came and start working here today. You need to go ask for a market adjustment. A market adjustment in your pay. You need to ask for it. Okay? The bottom line is, if you don't develop the courage to ask for what you want, you will not get it. It's not going to happen. They're not going to give it to you. Why do I say that? Because the companies are looking to maximize profits and minimize expenses. That's why. And salaries in an organization, employee pay is an expense. And they are going to advocate for themselves. They are going to act like they are the prize here, when the truth is, in order for them to get to the next level of where they're trying to go to, you are the one who is the prize. You are the one that's going to help them elevate to the next level. And you need to know that. Okay, so that's why I'm here. I want to help you guys. So if you have a question about the application, interview, or hiring process, you can leave it in the comment section. I'll be happy to answer those questions for you, for sure. So I've had several people reach out to me and ask interview questions. So how should you respond if a hiring manager asks you, well, tell me about yourself? Now, I tell you all the time that this question is not designed for you to talk about your personal life, because they don't care about your personal life. Hiring managers don't know you. It's not that your personal life is not important, but they don't know you. What they're trying to do is they're trying to really, really see what your thought is about yourself, and how it compares to what it is they're looking for. So the only way I tell people to answer that is this: I'm an experienced whatever, right? With a strong background in whatever that field is. So I'm an experienced mechanic with a strong background in diesel mechanics. And over the past several years, I have done these things, and I want to bring that experience here to help this team grow and reach its goals. That's it. Don't say nothing else. Don't talk about your cats, your dogs, any of your hobbies. Don't talk about any of those things, because they really don't care about those things. And you leave room to make some sort of mistake and trigger them in some sort of way, right? Like, I love to play golf. I don't talk about, well, I'm a talent acquisition person. I love playing golf. And what they're thinking in their mind is every second he gets, he's going to be on the golf course. That's true. But, I don't want them thinking that. Okay. Honeybee says, what tools do you recommend for someone who had a hard time to advocate for themselves? Okay. So I have a tool this is what I'm going to recommend. So number one, Honeybee, is you got to equip yourself. You got to understand that it's easier than you think. So number one, there's a guide that's overcoming the fear of job interviews. I don't know if you have anxiety or you feel some kind of way when you have to do interviews, but I recommend that to people so they can really, really be in a position mentally and emotionally to advocate for themselves. Now, the other way that I recommend that you advocate for yourself is if you get some of the other guys, like what you should know before you go to a job interview, how to get paid what you're worth, this guide that I'm sharing from today, the best way to negotiate money, the fastest way to get a job. All of those things are in my store. The other thing is I am a resource. So if you send me a message, a DM, I'll be happy to answer a DM on Instagram, or you can send me an email. And I do one-on-one coaching with people, right? I'll tell you exactly what to say when you go to an interview and how to advocate for yourself. I do that for clients every single day. They're getting ready to go into an interview. We do a one-on-one, what I consider to be interview prep for them. And I tell them what questions they're going to ask and how to answer those questions and how they should behave in that kind of an interview. And almost every single one of them, 80% of them that follow exactly what I'm saying, they all get offered a job. So I'll help you advocate for yourself. You can click the link in my bio if you want to get any of those resources or do a one-on-one. All right. So thank you guys so much for jumping on today from the countries and cities that you jumped on from. I appreciate you and support you. I will be going live again tomorrow, sharing some of the same information from a different perspective. And I would really, really like your support if I've said anything that has helped you, anything that has empowered you, anything that has motivated you. I encourage you to support what it is I'm doing by clicking the link in my bio and giving $10. It's very easy. $10 gift or donation. You click the link in my profile. You'll see the link in my link tree. You can give any kind of way you want. So you can, PayPal, Cash App, you can give via a credit card. It's just $10. That $10 is going to help me to continue to do this for you. And as I say at the end of every live, two things. One, if you need help with your resume, email me. But this is the deal. I will spend the rest of my life helping you get to the next level in yours. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys on the next live. Take care.